In this lesson, we're going to work on placing our illustrations. Okay, so a lot of work got done between the two last lessons. I went in here and kind of refined some of these, made the coral look a little bit better, and finished up the rest of these. And now we have a lot of illustration assets to work with, and we really didn't make any more than we needed. So let's just go ahead and start grabbing some of these and pulling them down in here. So I'm going to go ahead, we'll select all of these right there, and I'm just going to kind of scale those down. I'm holding shift to constrain those proportionately. And then let's just place those in that area. So those are the icons for our causes of the damage. And I'm going to go ahead and align these kind of on the edges here. And we'll work on getting those to be exactly the right size. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to select both, just this layer here or this row here, and we'll do one of these vertical align centers. I'll do the same thing for this one as well. Go ahead and choose vertical align center. Let's make sure that those are both right at the same point on the edge. So I'll just do a horizontal align left and a horizontal align right for those two. And then you probably need to do a little bit of a redistribution for these. So you want to do one of these where you get a horizontal distribute left, and also for the bottom. So now these are kind of all in place, and we've got just a nice mixture of all of these icons together. Still really easy to tell what they are, and there's not lots of nice white space in between here. You could make them a little bit bigger if you wanted to. You wouldn't have to, and there's going to be plenty of room to come in here and put our labels as well. Now they don't follow the grid perfectly, but they still kind of give us just a nice distribution, and it still feels aligned, so I'm okay with that. Now I want to place some illustrations in this area here, and I have a little bit more room on the bottom than I have on the top. So I'm going to go ahead, let's open up our layers panel, and we're just going to unlock some things for a moment. Now I still want to leave my outer border and my guides locked, but this area right here, I'm going to move this down a little bit just so I have a little bit more even distribution of that space. And then I just want to start putting some coral here at the top. So I'm going to kind of zoom out here a bit, and let's just kind of get started with this piece right here. And instead of, you know, completely going away from those originals, I'm just going to alt drag to place those because they do take a lot of time to create. So you probably, you know, you want to be careful of not changing your original. So just kind of bring that in here, scale that down a little bit, and maybe just kind of bring that to the middle of that part right there. So that looks pretty good. I really like that. I mean, even just by itself, that looks really nice. And then let's go ahead and we'll maybe grab this piece. I'm going to alt drag that down as well. And let's go ahead and take this up here. Well, I'm just holding shift and alt at the same time to make that constrain in that way. And this is kind of causing a weird effect. So I'm going to go ahead and take those together and hit Control G to group them onto one layer. So now those are both sitting on this layer 12 here. And I think what we should probably do is just put them all on their own layer. So we'll make a new layer. Let's just double click over here and give this a unique color that we haven't used yet. So let's choose pink. And then I'm going to take this group and we'll drop that into the pink right there. So now I can ungroup, just Control Shift G, and bring that to the front. Sorry about that. We'll just want to make sure I have the right thing selected here. So we want this piece here. Right click, arrange, bring to front, just like that. And maybe pull that down so it's not interfering so much with the text. Now let's grab some more. So I'll just come back over here, zoom out a little bit. let's grab this piece right here. We'll just alt drag that down, and we can grab this and just drop it into layer 16 because that's where we're storing all of these pieces. And just make that a little bit smaller. And the smaller you go, it seems, the more realistic it starts to look. So kind of keep that in mind. You know, these vectors really start looking really nice whenever they've been scaled down so small. I'm going to go ahead and put that up in layer 16. And I'll just kind of place that right there under that text, just kind of making a little row of these. And then let's come up here, grab that spiky ball that we've got there. Just toggle that down, grab this one. We'll place this in that layer 16 group. And this one is a little bit too big, so I'm going to make that smaller just by scaling that down a little bit there. Maybe not quite that small. And then maybe I want to have two of these, so I'm just going to alt drag that over, then kind of make it a little bit smaller, maybe rotate it a bit. I still want to keep the dark side on the right side there, but just to make it look a little bit different from the other one. And then let's go ahead and grab those last two pieces just right here. We'll alt drag that down. Let's go ahead and come inside here, put those in layer 16. And these need to be scaled down pretty considerably. Maybe put those just like that. Maybe kind of flip them the other direction. And I'm just placing those just like that. Maybe we want to bring this one to the front, so you can arrange, bring to front, so you can kind of see those spikes in front of there. So it's really up to you, you know, how you want to arrange these. Maybe make them all just a little bit lower if you want to do that. That's something you might want to think about. Maybe this one is not quite so low. Just pull that up there. So, you know, it's really up to you, but I think that that looks really nice. You know, we've got all that coral and it's just kind of all sitting on that row there. And now what I want to do is kind of the same approach, but I simply want to change the coloring of them so that you really start to feel that look that you get with coral bleaching. So I'm just going to go ahead and alt drag down, and we'll just kind of make another arrangement here on the bottom. Then we can start to change the color here in a moment. And maybe this one will have go all the way across. So maybe the scale of these is a little bit different. Maybe it's a little bit bigger down here just to show, you know, that there is so much coral bleaching. I don't know, you can back that up however you want. So just kind of place in a few of these here. Let's grab this one, alt drag that down, turn that upside down. Maybe have a few of those spikes. Maybe they're bigger this time, so I can kind of place this over here, alt drag that. We'll have two on this side as well. Maybe make that one a little smaller. And let's go ahead and use our piece that we haven't used yet, that kind of rocky looking piece we have over here. So grab this one, we'll alt drag that. Let's make sure that that gets put into the right group. So that's in the pink now. And we'll drag this down. Let's make this a little bit smaller. And I think if this one actually needs to go this way. And there you go. So really, really quick, easy to achieve. And now I'm just kind of going in and changing them a little bit. Might want to nudge this down just a bit, just so that those feel like they have enough room there. And now let's go in and kind of change their colors a little bit. So you can see I'm just going to do this for a couple of them. Maybe we'll start with this one here. It's an easy one. So we've got that red fill, and I'm just going to come in and I'm going to choose that navy that we've been using so far just to make it darker. But then let's just go in and turn the opacity down. So maybe put that at 50%. So you can have this, and it's going to get flattened when you print it, so sometimes that can cause issues. So another thing that you could do instead of changing that is just to go in and choose that color. Now, depends on where you're going to print it. Where I would be printing this, it's fine for me to have that, so it's really up to you how you want to use that transparency. Now, I'm going to go ahead for this gradient, and let's just go over to our gradient tool, and we've got, or our gradient panel, excuse me, we've got the purple and the pink here. So I'm going to double click in that purple, and I'm probably going to use some colors that might not be in our swatches, but that's okay. I'm just going to choose really muted colors, so it's not going to feel too different. So I'm just going to choose that really light color here, and then on the other side, we'll just wait for that to pop up. Let's choose our off-white. So this just feels very, very muted now. And we can do the same thing for some of these other pieces, but they have a little bit more complex gradients, so they will take a little bit longer to change. And you can kind of see, that's a set of spikes by itself here. So probably just want to change the darker one to a lighter color. So we have that really dark brown, and maybe just change that to a really light color, and maybe we leave the ones in the background the same, but this brown can be different. So maybe instead of being that really, really dark brown, we've got kind of a much more muted color. And I've just double clicked that to go into that isolation mode, and that isn't producing really enough contrast for me, so maybe come in, let's see if we can make that look a little bit better. Maybe do our really light off-white color, see how that looks. And I like the way that that's looking. Maybe grab this dark brown color here, choose something a little bit lighter. And this one as well. That's a very dark color, so we still want it to remain dark, but not as dark as it was before. So that looks pretty good right there, and I could go in and show you how to change the other one, but I think you pretty much get the idea. And this is the same way. We would just go in and start changing that gradient. Now, I want to still have time to place some of my other illustrations. So let's come back over here, and I'm going to reuse a few of these. So let's go ahead and let's just create a new layer. Just right up here, layer 17. Let's give this an interesting color also, just so we kind of know where we're coming from. Let's just do that tan color. We haven't used that one yet. And I'm going to toggle some of these up so they're just a little more organized. And one of the other places we have some room for illustration is up here. And it looks like these got moved up here to the top. Now that's not where I want them, so I'll just delete that. And we're going to go ahead and just put a few illustrations in here. So this is where our sea turtle is going to come in. So I'll go ahead and grab him. He's already on his own layer, so we'll just use him as he is. Go ahead and select the whole thing and hit Control-G to group that. And he's coming from kind of the wrong direction, so let's go ahead and flip him to look the other way. So I'll just right click and we'll go to Transform, Reflect, just hit OK. And so now he's kind of coming in like this, and unfortunately we don't get to see, all of that fin, so maybe we can make him just a little bit smaller so you can see more of that, maybe not quite that small. Maybe we would just want to bring this in like that, and then maybe add a little bit to his illustration. He looks like he might fit just right there. So we miss out on the fin, but we still get quite a lot of detail right here just in his face. There's so much to be seen there. And so we have some other illustrations I think we can use. Let's come over here. I'm going to grab that green piece of coral, and I said I'd like to use something green for the rainforest here, so I think this would be really nice just to kind of place back here. And I'm not quite so worried about the columns at this point with these illustrations, because my text is really abiding by those. And another piece of coral, that we might like would maybe be this purple one. Maybe drag this over here. And we can use this one kind of talking about that symbiotic relationship. So scale that down, kind of put that in there, and maybe just arrange that in a way that it doesn't interfere with the text. So you might have to go in on this one and double click just some of those individual brush strokes and take them out, just so that the text is able to be read. And that just kind of really helps to frame that a little bit better. So I actually like that better without those pieces. And then maybe come in and move some of the ones that are, you know, just looking a little bit strange compared to everything else. Maybe just make it feel a little bit different, but you're definitely spending a lot less time than if you went in and, you know, illustrated a completely different piece. So I really like the way that that looks. Maybe you would want to go in and change the colors of that a little bit, but you wouldn't have to. And then we also have those fish illustrations. So the place I wanted to use the fish was kind of down at the very bottom. So I'll just grab those guys. We'll alt drag them down here. And then let's just kind of zoom in. And these guys, I'm going to make them really small just because I want them to have just kind of as an accent, not to be a distraction. Maybe turn him the other direction. Make him a little bit bigger. And maybe the little green one is just kind of like he's looking at the same thing as the bigger fish. So we'll leave him small, just like that. And I think we could reuse this fish again just to be, just kind of tell a little bit more of a story, maybe here at the top. So I'm just going to kind of drag him up here. And let's kind of put him with our sea turtle just because we are talking about animal life up here around this section. And maybe flip him so he's looking back the other way again. And make him a lot smaller just to kind of help show the scale of that guy. We'll just kind of place him there. So he's still interacting with that text and with the turtle. So, you know, you kind of take a second look at that. You know, what is he looking at? So just brings that to life a little bit more, tells, again, just a little bit more of a story. Just really makes him feel small in comparison. So in this lesson, we placed all of our illustrations and we were able, you know, to reuse a lot of what we had created to save us some time. So in our next lesson, I'm going to come in here. We might want to push this piece up a little bit so we can tighten that up. And I'm going to come in and add labels to these icons. So we'll set just a little bit more text now that we have these other pieces added to our infographic. And also maybe just kind of play around with these layers, get those in order a little bit better, and then we're just about done. So stick around, there's only a few things left to finish.